Welcome. So now we have an application created. We have also created our resource type for our application. Let's go look at that. So in our video application, we have the resource type, which is video footage or video. We've added our rights, the ability to edit the videos, view the videos, and delete the videos. And at this point, we have a coarse-grained permissions model where you're granting the ability to perform these rights. Okay, so here we see the application rights we've created for our resource type video, the ability to view a video, edit a video, and delete a video. But at this point, these rights are global or coarse-grained, meaning that if you get the edit video right, you can edit any video. It's not restricted at all. So in many cases, this isn't very realistic or desirable. So in an ABAC or PBAC application, how do you restrict or add conditions to which videos, in this case, the user has the right to perform these actions? So over here, I can create what's called an app-owned field type. And an app-owned field type is a field type or scope, or some may call an ABAC attribute, that is owned by my application, which makes sense for my application, in this case for the type of resource video, that I can use in an access assignment or policy to restrict which videos they can view, edit, or delete. Now, when you create a field type, you can run the wizard. And a field type, if you're thinking about your application, typically it is a property of your resource type. Or if your resource type, let's say videos, is a column, is a database table of videos, it would be a column on that table, something that's actually an attribute or property of that object. So in this case, we're going to call ours, we'll call it vid-category. That's our API name, shouldn't have spaces, and we'll call this video category. And this category of the video. And we're going to assume in our application that that is a column that says what type of category is this application, is this video. You can use these same field types for dynamic membership rules, which would basically be that, hey, this is a field type that's assigned to a person or a role, and then you can pull people into a role or group using dynamic PBAC policies, using these field type attributes. We're not going to do that here because all we care about is our application authorization. Now the next is the default selection rule. So this is what the user is going to see in an assignment, requesting or being assigned a right that has this field type. Well, is it a multi-value where they could pick multiple categories? Is it let's say, another common one, which would be a single select drop-down, where they can only request one value on an access assignment or an access request? Probably one of the more common ones is the multi-select checkbox list. That's probably the most common. Now, grid lookup supported, we're going to rename this actually, give it a different label, because really it's just if you want to have call an EmpowerID API to list the data when the user's picking it. So if you wanted to list a list of data that already exists in the EmpowerID database, like a list of countries or something like that, you could enter an EmpowerID like, nation, view, get all, search, and then that would be the data source when a user's picking it. Now, we don't want to do that at all. We're going to actually manage our values, which is typical. We're going to actually create the values or import them in and not have it be coming from an EmpowerID standard table. So also then the creation location. This is just, since it's a resource governed by the ABAC model, the location is used to place it in the tree to control who can see it, maybe who inherits admin rights on it. And let's click next. So now at this point, it's going to, as long as we have the right, it's going to create our app-owned field type. And now we have it here. It's a video category, multi-select checkbox list, and it is ready for usage. So now the next step is you can have something that imports in these AZ field type values for another process that imports them in, so you have values to select from. Or you can come down here and you can run the workflow to manage field type values. And that's another little wizard workflow, which allows me to pick my field type, video category, and to add, edit, or remove values. So I'm going to say this one is, let's see, nature. Let's say it's a nature video. We're just going to make up our own categories here. And let's say the next one is a marketing video, if I can type that correctly. Marketing video. And the next one is a compliance video. Okay, so we've got 3 values that get possible for this field type. So we'll run through and click save, and now we have our values and we have our field type. Okay, so now we're ready to use our field type. And to use our field type, we go back to the app right definitions, and we would want to think for which right does this field type make sense? That on assigning the right, you want to restrict the access to specific categories, not to grant it to all videos. So let's just do edit video as our first one. We'll just do one here. So if I right click, I can run the workflow to configure the field types for the right, which means to associate the field type we just created as being required when you're assigning that right. So let's find our field type, video category. Now in the next screen, there are the settings. And the settings, we'd pick the default, for the field type, you pick a default fallback user interface selection option, but then when you assign it to a right, you might want in certain circumstances, or with certain rights, to maybe it's single select versus multi-select. We're going to leave it alone here. We're going to say it's required. We don't want them to be able to assign this right without it, because if you don't make it required, then if I don't pick a value, then it's unrestricted. So if I assign you the edit video right and I don't pick a value, that means that you have edit video rights without no restrictions. So we want to ensure they restricted. Now, allow any selection of values. This means that in this case, we define 3 values for our field type, the categories. You might, for this particular right, only want 2 of them to be selectable. So you could leave that unchecked and then pick specific values for this right and different values when you associate it with another right. But we don't care. We want any of the values that exist to be selectable. Now, field type scope. This is what is this field type about? Now, in 99% of your cases, it's going to be about the resource. It's about the video. But there are cases where it could be about the person or signee. So on an access assignment, you could be asking a question like only if the person has a certain value, like they'd signed the NDA or the person's security clearance level was something like that. Or environment. The field type could be about the environment. It could be that requiring that they did MFA. So you're granting them the edit video right, but when it makes the decision at the policy decision point, it has to know that they did MFA. 99% of the time it's going to be resource, so we'll leave it at that. And now it's added it to our right. Now how do we validate that? We can go to the IAM shop, and when requesting edit video, we'll see that we have a new requirement that we have to pick a field type or scope value before we add it to the cart. So now our access assignment is only going to be to edit videos for compliance and marketing. So that's how field types can add ABAC conditions or constraints to rights assignments. Thank you.